Ready, two. Color guard, present the colors. Hand salute. Color guard, retire the colors. Ready, two. Now Chaplain Walcott will deliver the invocation.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Let us pray. Eternal Father, we mark today a special occasion in the history of the Coast Guard as we honor Admiral Schultz and thank him for a job exceedingly well done, as well as welcome Admiral Fagan to her new roles and responsibilities. We give you thanks today for Admiral Schultz. His broad shoulders have carried a tremendous load over the past 4 years as he guided our Coast Guard through very difficult times. We are grateful for his steady hand, his astuteness, and most of all, his genuine concern for the members of the Coast Guard and their families. Thank you for giving him the wisdom and strength for such a time as this. We ask for wisdom for Admiral Fagan. Her career of distinguished service speaks for itself, and we know that she is more than ready for the call. Direct her as she leads our Coast Guard into the next chapter of its illustrious history. Our service, our nation, and our world face new challenges and new opportunities. Guide her as she guides us. Neither Admiral Schultz nor Admiral Fagan arrived at this moment on their own. We thank you for the families that raised them, the education and experiences that formed them, the mentors that taught them, and especially the loved ones that stood and continue to stand beside them. We pray today for our leaders, President Biden, Vice President Harris, Secretary Mayorkas. We thank you that they are people of integrity and character striving to do what is right. We pray for all elected and appointed officials. May they all seek to serve selflessly and with honor. few moments ago, we heard a song that reminded us of the promise of America the Beautiful. May we work together to make it so. For all those standing the watch around the world in the Coast Guard today, our active duty, reserve, civilian, and auxiliary team, and especially the families that support them, we ask for your care and your protection. This we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain Walcott. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Military members may now uncover. It is now my distinct honor to introduce the presiding official for today's change of command ceremony, the Honorable Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security and the Service Secretary for the United States Coast Guard.
Thank you, Rear Admiral Platt. President Biden speaks so movingly of our United States as a country of possibilities, one where our individual and collective talents, drive, and spirit can achieve anything. All across our great nation and around the world, members of the United States Coast Guard prove that to be true every single day. Through selfless service to mission and with a spirit of innovation, coasties everywhere are achieving extraordinary things, from daring rescues to protecting sovereign waters and so much more. Our country of possibilities is defined by our people. The members of the Coast Guard who have served and are serving bring honor to our nation every day. Those who are embarking upon our service hold boundless promise for the future. May 18th illustrated that so powerfully as cadets at the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut graduated and became new officers. As each approached the stage to receive their diploma and commission, I witnessed as each radiated with the courage of military service, the excitement of new postings, and the healthy nervousness of new beginnings. As each one of them walked across the stage, a walk of 40 or so feet that represented 4 years of hard work and tenacity, they were greeted, one by one, with words of encouragement, strength, and pride. Each of them was greeted personally by their Commandant, Admiral Schultz. Great leadership also defines the United States as a country of possibilities, and that is what we are here to celebrate today. The great leadership of Admiral Schultz, the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard. Admiral Schultz has served our country with distinction for 39 years. Through numerous flag and operational assignments spanning coast to coast, he has devoted his career to the Coast Guard and made life better for its members and their families. As Commandant, Admiral Schultz has led the Coast Guard through a unique and unprecedented period. In early 2019, the federal government was shut down and active duty Coast Guard members were not paid. Through the shutdown, the Coast Guard continued to not only operate and fulfill its mission, but it shined. Members speak of that difficult time with admiration for and adoration of their Commandant, who stood by them and provided them with the support they needed. Throughout the global pandemic, the Coast Guard did not have the option of working from home. At the outset of the pandemic, Admiral Schultz led coasties as they brought cruise ship passengers and crew to safety. From that time forward, he has helped keep the marine transportation system going, which facilitates more than a quarter of our country's gross domestic product and maintains 31 million jobs in American ports, harbors, and waterways. Through the most intense and active Atlantic hurricane season on record, historic levels of migration, the urgent need to distribute COVID-19 vaccines, and the Afghan resettlement effort of Operation Allies Welcome, the Coast Guard has been there, always ready and always delivering. It has been so because of the Coast Guard's enormous talent and agility, its proud tradition of service whenever and wherever needed, and the incredible leadership of Admiral Schultz. While meeting these immense challenges, the Commandant has spearheaded a more than 20% increase in the Coast Guard's budget and ignited the largest shipbuilding effort since World War II. Most of all, Admiral Schultz has focused steadfastly on the well-being of every member of the Coast Guard and the advancement of its core values as an American institution. Championing diversity, equity, and inclusion, overhauling the service's civil rights policy, expanding mentorship and support programs. He has been there for the Coasties and the country they proudly serve. He has led the Coast Guard to new heights during an extraordinary tenure. The service of the new officers commissioned on May 18th and the service of thousands of others whom he has recruited, mentored, inspired, and led will be a tribute to his contributions and will build on his legacy. So too will the leadership of the Coast Guard's 27th Commandant, Admiral Linda Fagan. Admiral Fagan was a member of the 6th class of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy that accepted women. She began her career as the only woman of the crew of the venerable icebreaker Polar Star from 1985 to 1987. She has served on all 7 continents and is the longest-serving active duty officer in the Marine safety field, which earned her the Coast Guard's first ever Golden Ancient Trident. She will be the first woman to serve as Commandant and the first female service chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. Admiral Fagan is a trailblazer. For more than 230 years, women have had an essential role in the United States Coast Guard and its predecessor services. Coast Guard women have helped shape the service and pioneered the role of women in the federal government and the nation. Now the Coast Guard has its first woman commandant. Today is an historic day for the United States Coast Guard, an historic day for the United States. This is a day when the change, the charge, and privilege of leadership passes from one adored and revered admiral to another. It is a great day for the Schultz and Fagan families, too. We do not serve alone. Our loved ones serve with us. Don Schultz and John Fagan, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. The future is bright and a reflection of the leaders here. Ensign Eric Schultz heard the personal words of encouragement, strength, and pride from his father as he walked across the stage of the Coast Guard Academy last year. Lieutenant Eileen Fagan follows in her mother's footsteps. Thank you, Admiral Schultz, for your extraordinary career of service to the Coast Guard and our nation. Admiral Fagan, we turn to you with great promise. Semper Paratus. America is indeed a country of possibilities. No one champions this fact more than our Commander-in-Chief, a leader who has dedicated his life to extending the reach of possibility to every American. On this historic occasion, I am honored to welcome the 46th President of the United States, our President, Joe Biden.
and I'm going to sit down. Probably wish. Today, we witness a tradition long standing in the United States Coast Guard. Change of command as the new admiral assumes leadership of our nation's oldest continuous seagoing service. And it's both a connection to our earliest days as a nation and a new milestone in our history. We use those phrases lately, but this is a big deal. Admiral Linda Fagan, Coast Guard Academy, class of 1985. Class of 85, stand up if you're out there. Oh! As they say in Southern Delaware, you all knew it then, didn't you? Well, you've crewed the Polar Star and Heavy Icebreaker, you've captained the Port of New York, you've served on all 7 continents, and you've commanded the Coast Guard operations in the Pacific. You've served as Vice Commandant of the Coast Guard. Throughout her decades of service, she's demonstrated an exceptional skill, integrity, and commitment to our country. She upholds the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. This moment of acceleration of global challenges and hybrid threats don't stop at any border. There's no one more qualified to lead the proud women and men of the Coast Guard, and she will also be the first woman to serve as Commandant of the Coast Guard, the first woman to lead any branch of the United States Armed Forces, and it's about time. Secretary of Defense, when he sent me the name, I said, what in the hell took you so long? Really, congratulations. Service. And we mean when we say there are no doors closed to women. And I might add, that includes her daughter, Coast Guard Lieutenant Admiral Fagan. Now, I've thoroughly embarrassed you, haven't I? You look like my son used to look. He said, Vice President Biden and his son, Major Biden. And you go, oh, Dad. Thank you. Thank you. It's not meant to embarrass, it's meant to compliment. Every little kid growing up today who dreams of serving their country will know that this is what an admiral and a service chief of the United States Armed Forces looks like. I mean it sincerely, it matters. I concluded when I ran, by the way, that I make sure that my government, my administration, and the service looked like America. I want to thank you, Admiral Fagan, for taking the helm during this critical moment, and for all that you've done throughout your career to open the doors of opportunities a little bit wider to allowing those following behind you a way through. I want to acknowledge your family. We're here to support you, and you've supported you every day, just as they have throughout your career. John, where are you? I'm going to embarrass you. John, stand up, will you? Come on. John, we don't know one another, but we have something in common. We both married way above our station. And Maura and Eileen and your parents, John and Luann, where's Mom and Dad? I watched Dad watching that young woman in the honor guard come around with that rifle. You did it. You moved quickly, Dad. All kidding aside, thank you for the values you instilled. It matters. It matters a great deal to both of you. And from the time that she was a swab, it just is amazing. I want to thank you for sharing Admiral Fagan with us, and Admiral Schultz, thank you for leading our Coast Guard as Commandant over the last 4 years. Stellar capstone to nearly 4 decades of outstanding service to the nation. I got the advantage of doing, for I think the 3rd time in my career, the Academy commencement, and you're second to last one. And he also has a young man, good-looking boy, man, who was also commissioned at the time. So I don't think we've seen the last of this. To Dawn and all the children, Lindsay, Kelsey, is it Annalise? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And is that right? And Zachary, and Ensign Schultz. Where's Ensign Schultz? Is he here? He's underway. For those of you who are not in the military, underway doesn't mean they're late on the way here. Say underway in my family, they think, well, where the hell are they? But look, it's not just those who wear the uniform who serve. And I've said this many times, it's the whole family. As an English poet said, they also serve who only stand and wait. They also serve who only stand and wait. Many times, your son, your daughter was on patrol somewhere, and you wondered, or your wife, or your mom. You stand there and you wait. For the year my son was in Iraq. For the year before that, when he was 6 months, he was in the Balkans. My wife would stand there at the coffee, at the sink, drinking that coffee, just saying a prayer every day. So to all of you, we owe you. We owe you big. Thank you for all that you've done for the country over the years. We've asked a lot of you, and you've risen to every challenge. I also want to thank the women and men of the Coast Guard who are standing watch today and every day here at home and around the globe, including my military aide who is here today, Lieutenant Commander Jane McCarran. Where is she? I'm going to embarrass the devil out of her, but I asked, she's hiding somewhere. I met her at the academy and asked her to come with us. Our nation is grateful to all of you for your years of service and your continued service. And as we look to the years and the decades ahead, the Coast Guard is only going to play an increasingly prominent role in our homeland and our national security. The challenges we face continue to evolve, and the choices we make today are literally going to shape the direction of the world throughout the 21st century. What we do the next 10 years is going to lay it down. We'll be calling on the Coast Guard more and more frequently, as you know, to underwrite the international maritime security, to keep the sea lanes open and secure, to uphold a rules-based international order, to protect the waters, as was mentioned, through which nearly 1/4 of the United States GDP is transported, to manage the impact of climate change, becoming more extreme weather and growing migration flows. In addition, you see what's happened in the Arctic. Arctic's going to change drastically and become a place that is going to also potentially generate potential conflict in terms of dominating the Arctic as it melts. The Coast Guard is a central element to the administration's new Indo-Pacific strategy, building partnerships with nations throughout the region to take on illegally and unreported and unregulated fishing, reported the shared threats that conduct and coordinate human and environmental missions. I met yesterday with the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Part of what we're initiating now is there's another country that's literally eating up all of the fishing grounds, literally overfishing everything. We've decided that we have to be engaged, and we have to be engaged with our Coast Guard and our military, our Navy. And with the climate change accelerating, we're seeing more frequent and more intense storms carry devastating impacts across our nation and throughout the hemisphere. Admiral Schultz, you oversaw the Coast Guard's response to the most active hurricane season on record in 2020. 30 named storms, 12 of which impacted the Gulf and Atlantic coast, and the Coast Guard was there for every single one of them. And with today marking the official first day of the 2020 hurricane season, we're anticipating the 7th straight year above average hurricane activity in the Atlantic. We turn to the Coast Guard to help facilitate our national response to COVID-19, from helping with vaccinations to protecting ports and maritime supply chains. And we rely on the Coast Guard to interdict illicit drug shipments at sea before they can enter the United States and respond to the greatly increased migration flows from Americas. Folks, and Admiral Fagan, we know there's more work to be done to ensure the Coast Guard and all the branches of our armed forces reflect the full strength and diversity, including at the highest levels of our leadership. When Admiral Fagan commissioned in 1985 only 5 years after the first woman graduated from the Academy, she was one of just 16 commissioned female ensigns, only 8% of her graduating class. She's the only woman aboard Polar Star for the first set of orders. Currently, Corps cadets at the Academy, more than 1,000 cadets strong, 40% are women. 40% are women. Admiral Fagan is part of a generation of pioneering women in the force, and this ceremony is historic and a historic first in that effort. Promotion earned through a career of outstanding leadership and accomplishment. Now we need to keep working to make sure Admiral Fagan may be the first, but not the only person. We need to see more women at the highest levels of command in the Coast Guard and across every service in the armed forces. We need to ensure women have an opportunity to succeed and thrive throughout their professional careers, and that means providing support and resources so women can compete fairly and fully for promotions and make sure women are not penalized in their career for having children. It also means creating an environment where every member of the armed forces feels safe in the ranks, including from sexual assault and harassment, and where their contributions are respected. So thank you again, Admiral Schultz, for your dedicated service to our nation and your steady leadership through the years at the Coast Guard. It's been called into new missions and asked to serve in extremely difficult circumstances. And thank you, Admiral Fagan, for accepting this next mission and this great responsibility to lead the women and men of the Coast Guard, the finest Coast Guard in the world. The Coast Guard is Semper Paratus, always ready, always ready. I know that you're ready for all that's ahead of you, and I look forward to watching you execute your job. Again, thank you. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Admiral Schultz. Admiral Schultz, would you please? Testing? Okay, sorry about that. Admiral Schultz, would you please join President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas on stage so they can formally recognize your accomplishments? Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Military members, attention to award. Citation to accompany the award of the Homeland Security Distinguished Service Medal to Admiral Carl L. Schultz, United States Coast Guard. Admiral Schultz is cited for extraordinary meritorious service to the government of the United States in a position of great responsibility as the 26th Commandant of the Coast Guard from June 2018 to June 2022. Operating amidst competing national priorities, Admiral Schultz expertly led the Coast Guard's monumental recapitalization of its legacy fleet of cutters and aircraft while aligning the service with Department of Homeland Security and Department of Defense strategic priorities. Through bold vision and resolve, he set clear direction for the service, championed efforts to foster a more diverse and inclusive workforce, and established an ambitious strategic plan ensuring the Coast Guard's 81,000 active duty, reserve, civilian, and auxiliary members were semper paratus, always ready to protect the homeland, enhance economic prosperity, and advance America's national interests. Exercising keen decisional agility and foresight, Admiral Schultz masterfully led the workforce through some of the most challenging times in our nation's history, including the COVID-19 global pandemic, a 35-day partial government shutdown, the busiest hurricane seasons on record, increased Coast Guard support to Southwest border operations and Operations Allies Welcome, response to mass migration events in Haiti, evolving cybersecurity threats, escalating tensions with Iran, and a national defense strategy focused on great power competition with China and Russia. He championed organizational changes to enhance oversight and improve efficiency while spearheading the on-schedule and on-budget delivery of national security and fast response cutter programs of record, the advancement of offshore patrol cutter and waterways commerce cutter programs, and awarded the multi-mission Polar Security Cutter contract. Admiral Schultz's unmatched ingenuity and visionary leadership resulted in the implementation of the Coast Guard's groundbreaking Arctic, cyber, and maritime commerce strategies addressing 21st century marine transportation security challenges and actions vital to the sustainment of more than 30 million American jobs and $5.4 trillion in annual U.S. maritime economic activity. His tireless efforts have positioned the service with a tremendous, capable blend of assets and enabling support resources necessary to protect and advance the United States' interests around the globe for decades to come. His extraordinary achievements culminate a truly distinguished 39-year career of selfless service to the men and women of the United States Coast Guard and the United States of America. Admiral Schultz's leadership, dedication, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security. Given this first day of June 2022, signed the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. Please be seated. Thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Mayorkas. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Carl L. Schultz, who will now provide some remarks.
Thank you, Michael. Mr. President, Secretary Mayorkas, what an honor to have you both here today. Mr. President, I would be remiss because the great class of '85 that Admiral Fagan hails from is here and trained by the great class of '83. I think there's a few of them in the room too. '83? I would be watching for that crowd on the news tomorrow, sir. They may be drinking some beer at my house tonight. And I had a moment, Mr. President, where you're talking about Lieutenant Fagan in the front row and how uncomfortable it was, and with your son. My son's underway, but he's not even on his own ship. He wanted to get underway on some other. That's a joke. He is underway, and he's here with us in spirit. Mr. President, I want to thank you for your truly meaningful words regarding the breadth of duties, the scope of impact that our Coast Guardsmen have, both here in the homeland and increasingly so across the globe. Secretary Mayorkas, I want to thank you, sir, for being here for today's Change Command ceremony, for your leadership. You lead a department of more than 250,000 people with complex responsibilities spread across 22 agencies, sir, and it affects the safety and the security of our American nation each and every day. And you have empowered me and given me a lot of running room to lead this team. And sir, and I want to appreciate the Department Award that recognizes the men and women of the United States Coast Guard, some here in this room and those standing the watch across the globe. Today marks a change in the top leadership of the service. I think it would be appropriate that I say just a few minutes to reflect on the world's best Coast Guard. A truly unique and versatile organization with broad statutory authorities and remarkably agile people. An organization with a 232-year storied history. We're a learning organization striving to be more diverse and representative of the great nation we serve. And I would say we're an organization that recognizes to remain the world's best, we must also be the world's most inclusive Coast Guard. In taking the baton 4 years ago from my predecessor and recognizing no service chief's tenure is routine, and I think the fellow service chiefs here will all second those words. Little did I know that this was going to be anything but a conventional 4-year race with that baton in hand. But I'd say instead, in many regards, and you heard some allusion to it, it's sort of like an eco-challenge. Maybe one of those toughest races pitting international athletes against the clock, running hundreds of miles in remote areas. And we asked our Coast Guardsmen, your Coast Guardsmen, to work without pay during that fiscal 2019 lapse in pay for the federal government. We asked them to navigate a tumultuous 2020 as a wave of civil unrest unfolded across much of the country, as we struggled to define the type of America we aspired to be. And then in March of 2020, that same spring, we ushered in a once-in-a-century global pandemic that greatly changed and still impacts the way we live and work. Against this backdrop, your Coast Guard exercised decisional agility and demonstrated a toughness and a resiliency, as well as a renewed bias for action and a sense of purpose towards mission accomplishment. I am forever grateful for their commitment, and to you, President Biden, for your unwavering support of the men and women of the United States Coast Guard. Team, we couldn't be any prouder of you today. So I will now read my orders. From Commander, Personnel Services Command to Admiral Carl Schultz. Upon relief of command, attach a report to retirement for the future. Thank you.
No mic.
Ladies and gentlemen, how's that? Please remain standing. That's all I really had to say. Mr. President, please join Admiral Schultz at center stage. Admiral Fagan will now read her orders.
From Personnel Service Center to Admiral Linda Fagan. Upon relief as Vice Commandant, proceed and report as Commandant. Mr. President, I request permission to take Admiral Schultz. Sir, I offer you my release.
Thank you, Mr. President and Admiral Schultz. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my privilege to introduce the 27th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan.
Thank you, Mr. President, Secretary Mayorkas. What a pleasure to have both of you here with us on stage to celebrate this change of command. To the members of the great class of 1985, thanks for representing, and great to see all you out there. And I know we have many folks that had hoped to join us but are joining virtually, and so thanks to all that are out there in the virtual land. Secretary Mayorkas, thank you. Thank you for your support and for the President's confidence in nominating me to serve as the 27th Commandant. I'm honored to have been confirmed by the Senate, and I would like to thank the committee for the leadership and their staff that help ensure we're having an orderly transfer of command today. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, I look forward to serving as part of your leadership team as we confront the challenges ahead. And I'm committed to executing your priorities and our department's missions through a unity of effort approach with all of our partner agencies. Admiral Schultz, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your dedication as you guided the service through historic challenges. And we are truly a more ready, responsive, and relevant Coast Guard today as a result of your leadership. It has been a true honor to serve with you during your tenure, first as the Pacific Area Commander and most recently as Vice Commandant. Thank you for your 39 years of tireless service. I wish you and Dawn and the Schultz family all the very best as you transition into retirement, and look forward to celebrating you some more here at the end of the ceremony. To my family, John, Moira, Eileen, thank you. I know it's been a little bit of a crazy ride, but I appreciate all you've done to enable this. And a special thanks to Eileen. Thank you, Mr. President, for calling her out. She's my personal aide. I lean on her pretty heavily. She is changing her name to Fagan after this. It won't be Fagan anymore. So, and I'd also like to thank the family that I've acquired along the way. And, you know, I've had a couple of assignments where people have come into my life as friends, and by the time the assignment was over, they've become family. Many of them have traveled from California. Some are living here in DC, but thank you to the extended family for being here. My parents who've traveled from Seattle, my sister and nephew who helped make that happen, thank you. And so just a little bit, I talked a little yesterday, a little more. I want to thank my parents for their courage. Their courage to allow me to begin this Coast Guard journey 41 years ago when I arrived at the Coast Guard Academy. I was 16. I announced my intent to attend the Academy, full of righteousness as only a 16-year-old can be. And like all good parents, they said, oh, she'll outgrow it. And I did not. Although I did think I could go to the Academy and drive small boats. That's not true either. But I thank them for their courage of letting me begin this journey. If it weren't for that, I'm not sure that I would be here. There are hundreds of you out there who I've served with over the years, far too many to call out, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support, your commitment to the organization, commitment to me, and helping me grow and learn. There is one person, though, and we've talked about the pioneers. I do want to call out one individual specifically. He's not with us. He's passed. I only met this individual once, but his courage had an outsized impact on me as a person. This is our 15th Commandant, Admiral Owen Seiler. He was an aviator. I met him at a building dedication in Savannah. Owen Seiler was the one who had the courage to integrate the service academies and make that decision to integrate the Coast Guard Academy back in the summer of 1975. In 76, the first women arrived. They graduated in 80, and I arrived a year later to the Coast Guard Academy. If it was not for Owen Seiler's courage, I do not believe I would be standing here today, and so I want to thank him. I'm wearing his shoulder boards that he wore as the 15th Commandant just to acknowledge the long blue line. To the Coast Guard workforce, today is about you. I'm honored and humbled to serve as your Commandant. I've always been inspired by the Coast Guard professionals serving in all our missions around the world. Thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and your service. It's my greatest privilege to work on your behalf. I'm immensely grateful to the many pioneers who've paved the way. Pioneers like Admiral Seiler, Dorothy Stratton, Ida Lewis, Dorothy McShane, Elizabeth Friedman. I'm proud to be a part of this long history of service, dedication, and groundbreaking, and I'm committed to carrying these principles forward. For nearly 232 years, the Coast Guard has provided safety and security for the American people. Today, our Coast Guard workforce oversees waterways and vessels that power our nation's economy, responds to mariners in distress, enforces our laws, and watches over marine natural resources. Americans are proud of their Coast Guard and every person who serves in this organization, whether in uniform or as a civilian, active duty, reserve, or auxiliary. We should all be proud of our accomplishments every day to keep our nation safe and prosperous. It's never been a more exciting time to be part of the Coast Guard. The President talked about the pace of change in the changing world, advances in new technology, changes in the economy, an evolving geopolitical landscape means demand for Coast Guard missions have never been higher. Those same forces are also influencing the communities where our people live and work. The pace of change creates challenge, but it also creates opportunity. Today, we will advance the Coast Guard America needs for tomorrow. Tomorrow looks different, and so will we. We will be more adaptive and connected, generate sustained readiness, resilience, and capability in new ways to enhance our nation's maritime safety, security, and prosperity. To the workforce, each member of the Coast Guard workforce, you are the heartbeat of the service. Without you, we cannot execute missions. Aircraft aren't maintained, cutters don't sail, small boats don't patrol. My highest priority as Commandant will be to transform our talent management system. We will deliver each of you tools, policy, training, and support to succeed across all missions. We will empower you with reliable, cutting-edge assets, cutters, boats, aircraft, as well as data systems and shore facilities that you need to remain the world's best Coast Guard. We will unite people, assets, system, and data in new ways to be a more agile force. As we stay grounded in our principles of operation, we will focus on mission excellence so you can continue to be brilliant at our core work. We will find the best ways to deploy our assets to meet global demand, for the Coast Guard from the Arctic to Antarctica, throughout the world's oceans, the entire coastline and river systems of the United States. And we will be present where we provide the American people the greatest benefit. We will make the transformation we need to keep pace with the changing world, while being guided by our core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty, with pride in our long history and appreciation for the sense of belonging that we share in this service. This transformation is an investment in you. Without you, steel does not move, lives are not saved, and our national prosperity and security are at risk. Your work, the Coast Guard's work, is critical to our national security and prosperity. You have answered the call to serve. We will be the Coast Guard where you can perform your best and bring your best to the potential that is this nation. I look forward to the journey ahead. I'm eternally optimistic about the future of the service. You are the world's best Coast Guard. I am honored and humbled to serve alongside you as we look to the future. Thank you. Semper Paratus. Rear Admiral Platt, all standing orders remain in effect.
Thank you, Admiral Fagan. Thank you, Admiral Fagan. Mr. President, on behalf of Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Fagan, and Admiral Schultz, we thank you for helping us to honor this historic occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing, and military members, please don your covers. Now, President of the United States of America, Joseph R. Biden, departing. Hand salute. Ready, two. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now transition to Admiral Schultz's retirement ceremony. Military members may now uncover. Today's ceremony marks the retirement of Admiral Schultz after 39 years of faithful and distinguished service in the United States Coast Guard. It is now my pleasure to introduce the presiding official for today's ceremony, Admiral Stephen D. Poulin, the 33rd Vice Commandant in the United States Coast Guard.